Is astral projection real or is it fake? Can the soul actually leave the body and travel to the astral plane? Speaking from experience, I will tell you straight up if it's real or if it's fake. Welcome to the Julio Frequency podcast. I'm Julio. And on today's episode of the Julio Frequency, we're going to talk about astral projection and whether or not it's real or if it's fake. So here we go.
Warning! You are now taking a trip onto the Julio Frequency.
All right, so can your spirit actually leave your body? That's a pretty interesting question, and a lot of people would beg to differ. A lot of people would say no. A lot of people would say there's no way, simply because they've never done it before. Just like anything else, you really can't confirm anything unless you've done it, right? Well, let's just lay it out right now, directly. Is it real or is it not? I will look you in the eye and tell you straight up it is very real. It is so real. It is so real, it's scary and it's dangerously real. And let me break it down to you first on how I found out about astral projection and exactly how I went down on that very deep, I don't want to say dark, but it was a very, there wasn't much light in this journey, but I still got through it. And before we begin, I have a hard time saying the word astral projection. You might hear me say asshole projection or ass all projection or astral projection. So just bear with me. I'm trying to say astral projection. And sometimes in the heat of the moment, I might say ass projection. So, and it all started back when I was working in a frozen custard shop. I used to sell ice cream. They called it ice cream, but it really wasn't ice cream. It was frozen custard, like Coney Island. You guys know. And in this establishment, I was the manager. And there was a new employee that started who I was training. This employee had told me that astral projection was real and that he was training with a shaman on how to do it. Matter of fact, he specifically told me that he was training to become a shaman. Those were his words, not mine. So he then shared with me on how specifically you can basically soul travel. And back then, I didn't see it as like a cosmic journey. This was in year 1997, just to give you a perspective on how old this guy is right here. In 1997, I was working, and I was serving ice creams, and this dude that started working with me began, well, stated that he was training to become a shaman. Okay. So that's neither here nor there because this video isn't about the shamanistic culture. We're going to get into that in a whole different video. This is just the presets. This is just the beginning. This is how I learned about astral projection, the foundation, and confirming that it's real. So, long story short, this guy told me that he knew how to astral project, told me it was real, and then he gave me written instructions on exactly how to do it. I won't get into those instructions yet, but before he gave me those instructions, he was giving me the kind of like the info on it, little tidbits on when someone goes on that journey. specifically telling me that it's not a path that you choose, it's a path that chooses you, so to speak. No one wants to be a shaman. You don't just raise your hand and say, I want to be a shaman. It's one of those things that comes after you, so to speak, kind of like grabs you while you're sleeping and gives you nightmares, pretty much decides for you where you have no choice. And it's not like it's a great job. You ever heard of a necromancer? Okay, so what exactly is a necromancer? 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 What is a necromancer? What is a necromancer? What's a necromancer? All right, let's see what it is together. All right, we're gonna see exactly what is a necromancer. We're gonna check Wikipedia. They might ask for a donation. All right, what exactly is a necromancer? Wikipedia was just a dream. I'll, okay, we're gonna go in English. Goes to show how much I use this thing. All right, so what is a necromancer? Let's ask Wikipedia what that is. Necromancer. Here we go. Okay, necromancer. Necromancy. It gave me necromancy. This article is about the practice of magic. For the film, see necromancy film. Necromancer redirects here. So I typed in the word necromancer. It gave me necromancy. For other uses, see necromancer disambiguation. I'm not sure what that means. We can click on it later. Okay, so necromancy is the practice of magic involving communication with the dead by summoning their spirits as apparitions or visions for the purpose of divination, imparting the means to foretell future events and discover hidden knowledge, sometimes categorized under death magic. The term is occasionally also used in a more general sense to refer to black magic or witchcraft as a whole. Therefore, as you can see, you sure you want to be a astral projector? Because you don't just be an astral projector. You don't just astral project. This video is about whether or not astral projection is real. It absolutely is, but there's more to it if that's the route that you're on, so to speak. You're in the necromancer route. Those are you're in that category of people if you start going down that route. You know what I mean? That's how you're categorized in this category as a necromancer. Witchcraft, black magic, spirits. If that's your thing, then go for it. It wasn't my thing. It never was. But somehow it kind of found me. So again, it's not something you choose, it's something that chooses you. So if you're one of those people just chasing it, maybe you're chasing the wrong thing, if you know what I mean. So there you have it. That's what a necromancer is. Is that something that resonates with who you are? before the video is over, we're gonna have more of a better understanding, specifically on what astral projection is. So,
And the purpose of this underground is to find out how to preserve the light, life, the culture, how to keep things living.
the gentleman who was sharing with me about his shamanistic journey, him becoming a shaman, he also shared with me on the rules on becoming a shaman. And one of those rules, which was interesting, was on how before becoming a shaman, or matter of fact, let me rewind. I think I'm going off the rail here. Not about becoming a shaman, but basically, before you can astral project, all right? Me backtrack. He gave me instructions on how to astral project. There was a shamanistic culture he was learning. He was becoming a shaman, and then he told me, in order to become a shaman, you and in order to astral project, you have had to have had a life threatening experience, or you would have to have a near death experience, basically. So basically, anyone who wants to astral project, according to what I was told by a young entry level shaman, you had to have given blood to the earth. You had to have shed blood onto the earth via sacrifice. And before you can travel outside of the realm of your body, you had to have given blood to the earth as a sacrifice. So, in essence, a near death experience justifies that need or that sacrifice. And then you can, you know, go beyond the realm, so to speak, which is kind of like a mystical uh, rule. It sounds kind of cool. So, and if you've ever been in a near death experience, apparently that wasn't an accident. It was meant to happen so you can become a shaman, right? Okay, those are the rules. You had to have had a near death experience, and then, of course, go through the shamanistic training before you can astral project. Long story short, you can astral project. So he gave me the instructions. This guy gave me the instructions on how to astral project. Now, the reason why he told me that part, as far as uh, having a near death experience, because at the time I had a huge wound on my face, for I had gone through a near death experience a few years earlier. I went through a windshield. It was tragic. Uh, People didn't survive. It was awful. Came close to the other side, type of thing, shed tons of blood to the concrete. And I'd say that qualifies me for going on that step to becoming a walker of the astral plane, a shamanistic astral journeyman slash hunter, Jedi through the forces of the realm. No, just someone who can astral project and possibly become a shaman. However, it's not something that I was seeking. It's not something that I felt was seeking me. I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was pretty cool. At the time, I was about 20, 21, actually younger. I was about I was about 18 or so when I got these instructions, and I was about 16 when I had my near death experience. So just to put perspective on time frame, uh, on when I learned how to astral project. So, long story short, I received the instructions on how to astral project. They're very, very simple, and I promise you, if you stick with me, if you subscribe to this channel, if you continue watching these videos, eventually I will unveil those instructions onto the world. But I promise you, it's not something that you want to do willfully. That's why I just don't want to give it to you right away, because my experience was a close one, and soon I will share how that experience went. And I can confirm and tell you directly that I did walk the astral plane. I was given instructions on how to astral project. I followed them to the T, and I will give you also it's kind of like this progress where you will know if you're getting closer to be able to actually project based on this, and this happening. You know what I mean? There's a specific set of instructions that you got to abide by. And once you start doing these things, certain things will start to happen. Very mystical and cosmic things in your life, all true and all confirmed. And then you're going to start to like really, then you're going to really want to be my friend. Because when you see yourself going through these changes and getting closer to that step of onto the astral plane, forget about it. That's when there's no turning back. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First and foremost, if you've never been in a near death experience, then you cannot astral project. Keep that in mind according to the mystical rules, the ones that I didn't make up. These rules were given to me and stated by someone else. I am just reiterating the lesson, so to speak. Furthermore, once you learn how to do this, there's no turning back. So, is astral projection real? Absolutely. Can you astral project and walk through the astral plane? You absolutely can. Okay? And for the record, you can go too far to where you can dangerously destroy yourself and never be able to come back. Keep that in mind. So that's why it's not for everyone. That's why it's not something that you just go and do as a hobby. Like, oh, snap, I just learned how to astral project. I'm going to go see how it works out, walk in the astral plane. No, it doesn't work that way because apparently there's more to it when you become that enriched with that much of a power, so to speak. I can admit that I chased that dream egotistically. I wasn't called upon to speak with spirits and assist people with their medical needs, or was I? As far as I know. And I just learned how to do it, received literally written instructions, followed them for several weeks, and I did it. I promise you, I can assure you that I've astral projected. I've astral projected following a specific set of rules. And again, eventually, I will share those rules on this podcast further down as we get deeper into the episodes. But for right now, we are confirming that astral projection is in fact real. It's a real thing and confirmed to be true. And that's pretty much it. If you stayed with me up until the end, please hit the like button. And if you haven't done so already, if you've never seen me before, subscribe. Join this cosmic, whatever you want to call it, the Julio Frequency. That way, you can stay in tune to the levels. So in closing, if you have had a near-death experience, it's very, very possible that that was not an accident and you were chosen. I didn't make the rules. I did not make the rules, but if you're having dreams where you know you're in a dream, then maybe you should tap into yourself a little bit more. You might be destined for something greater than what you might expect. You might have a greater purpose in life, so to speak. If you're familiar with astral projection, if you've done it, if you've tapped into it, please drop it in the comments. Share your journey. This is a safe place. You're welcome to come and share however much you want to share. Give us your insights. Thanks for tuning in to the Julio Frequency. Stay cosmic, stay curious, and keep spiraling forward. Next week, we're going to talk about something that I have no idea what it is because I haven't thought of it yet. Until then, keep listening to your own frequency.